Welcome back to another section on the lesson introduction to the mobile school report card application. In our previous lessons, we have dealt with the overview of the mobile school report application. We have learned about the relevance of using this mobile app for school management. We also learned about the data required for submission on the mobile school report card. We learned about how to launch the application, that's the mobile school report card application, and then we also learned about the various data sources and data required for data submission at the end of the week and also at the end of the term. Then when we were done, we shifted to section 2, where we learned about how to register our teachers on the mobile school report app. Then in section 3, we learned about how to submit weekly report on the mobile school report app. In section 4, we're going to learn about how to report on the mobile school report app at the end of the term, and then learn about the submission procedure of submitting data at the end of the term. Now let's delve into it. What are some of the data or records required to input on the mobile school report card application? As administrator, you are required to provide these data at the end of the term, and these requirements include number of textbooks, people performance, meetings held in the school, grants and all source of monies or funds received in the school, sanitation practices, security issues in the school, recreational activities organized in the school, the status of the school structure, the number of strands covered for each of the subjects, furniture availability in the school, books and records in the school, community involvement or participation in the management of the schools. Then finally, general issues. You will be required to submit this information on the mobile school report card application. Now, for you to be successful and easy in the submission of these records identified, there's the need to have a template that looks like this. Okay, so once you have this template, a hard copy, and from the beginning of the term you start computing, then you'll be rest assured that at the end of the term you have a summary of the records on hard copy. Then you translate it on the mobile school report card application. If you fail to do that, you might have yourself wanting. So let's move on to look at the features on the template. So since you'll be required to submit data on people's performance at the end of the term, when you have a template like this will help you to compute the performance of the pupils from KG1 up to basic 9. And the variables include below average scores, above average scores, and average scores for all the subjects. Okay, so here, this column, you indicate the number of pupils below average here. Then the average score will be here on this column. Then ABVS means above average scores will also be computed over here. So basically for English, you have to compute the number of students who scored below average, above average scores. Here will be only the score. Then here will be the number of students who scored above average score in English. So you do likewise for all the subjects in each of the class. So if you don't have such a template here and a school-based assessment records that support this, and you wait to the end of the term, you find yourself wanting. I will introduce you to an SBA that will help you to have yourself organized and have these scores provided so that at the end of the term, you will not find yourself wanting. But before then, apart from the performance of the pupils, you are supposed to provide records on general issues. And under general issues, you need to have this response, such as yes, no, or no. So community involvement. Under community involvement, you will be asked, do community members volunteer to be involved in teaching at school? If it is yes, you indicate yes. If it is no, indicate no. If it is no, you indicate no. Okay, do SMCs and PT executive discuss and prepare the speech? Then if it is yes, no, or no, you input that information over here. Do most parents attend PTA meetings? If it is yes, no, or no, you input that response or option over here. Do parents or community members actively participate in school activities, that's grammar, sports, music, open day, speed day, constitution work? then you input the response. When you are done under community involvement, you move on to effective teaching and learning. We want to gather information on whether in the school we have effective teaching and learning. So here, do teachers use different teaching methods? For example, plenary lessons and dividing the class into small groups to work. Ideally, it's expected that when teachers are teaching, they are able to divide the class into groups and then use differentiated learning or approaches or methods, techniques to help address learning challenge in the class. And that is basically the foundation of the standard-based curriculum. So you also input that information here. Remember that here, if you are a head teacher or administrator and you do often have lesson observations in the classes, then that will give you the accurate response over here. Do children learn about HIV/AIDS in the school? Well, if it is yes, you provide. If it is no, you provide. If it is no, you do say likewise. Now let's move on. After effective teaching and learning variable, we move on to safe and safety and protection. So is the school compound safe for children to play? No busy roads or cattle grazing a river. If the school has a compound that is safe, you say yes. If it is not safe, respond no or no. Now this information we are providing will help you, the head teacher, SMCs, the directorates, and any other stakeholder to help in addressing some of these challenges. So it's better we provide accurate and authentic records as far as the mobile school report card is concerned. Now, when you are done, you shift or you move on to records on textbooks. So you are expected as an admin to record the number of textbooks for English, Maths, Science, work, History, RME, Ghanaian language, and all the subjects that you being taught in the school. The books availability of all the subjects taught in the school. So here to indicate appropriately, KG1, how many textbooks are available in KG1 in English? You supply here, Maths, Science, so you provide all up to Basic 9. Then when you are done, you move on to school records availability. So admission register, is it available? If it is available, you have one, you indicate yes. If you don't have, you say no. Class register, if you have, say yes. If you don't have, no. Teacher attendance register, yes or no. You take appropriately. Logbook, do you have logbook in the school? Yes, no. Visitors register, yes, no. SBA, yes. If you have SBA, school based assessment report book, you indicate. If you don't have, you indicate, you take no. Movement book, if you have, yes. If you don't have, no. SPIP, school or host PIP. If you have, yes. If you don't have, no. Then it goes on and on and on. School structure, status. How does the school structure look like? The walls of the school, is it good, fair, poor, or you don't have? That's non-availability. So we state it here. Doors, good, fair, poor, non-availability. Put it here. Windows, good, fair, poor. Floors, blackboard, whiteboard. Illumination, that's lighting in the class. If it is good, you state. If it is poor, state. If it is non-available, you state it. Then you continue to find provide information on the availability or non-functioning or not availability of sanitation materials and equipment, security, and recreation. So here under sanitation, the answer is that does the school have toilet or seat cubicle? If it is available, you indicate under beside it or in front of it available. If it is not functioning, you indicate NF. If it is non-available, you indicate NA over here. So you continue to answer the availability or non-functional, not availability of urinals, water, dustbins, Veronica buckets, and the security gated, that the school have gated facility. Is the school walled or fence? Light, does the school have electricity? Security man, location, does the school have football, volleyball, netball, playing for sports, well, swing, first aid balls? If the school has, then you indicate so. Right. Then grant type. Under grant type, we have the grant type, we have the amount received for that grant, then the tranche, whether it is first tranche, second tranche, or third tranche. So under grant type, we have learning grants, capitation grants, and others such as PTA, donations, community contributions, any forms of money that comes to the school, right? So you indicate if it's a learning grant, you indicate here under one, here simply means that that's first term or tranche. So you indicate over here. If, for instance, within the term, the school received, let's say for learning grants, some funds for learning grant, and the learning grant has term one, tranche 1, tranche 2, tranche 3, then you indicate the type over here, learning grant here. Then under amount, you state the amount received, then the tranche will also follow suit. right? Then here to the same thing applies over here. The grant received, the amount received, then the tranche will also follow suit. So in term one, let's say that that particular school received 500 Ghana cedis for learning grant. So you state over here the learning grant over here. Then under it, you state the amount you receive for that for learning grant for tranche one. Then the tranche will follow over here too. Then second grant type, is it capitation or school capitation or PT or whatever grant that you receive? It comes over here. Then the amount received for that grant type. Then the tranche, is it tranche one, tranche two, or tranche three? You also input here. So here it can go on and on depending on the grant type received, the amount, and also the tranche. Anytime you receive a grant type, you indicate on this column, then the amount received followed the tranche. Then another time you receive, let's say for the whole within the term, right? Then go on. So you can even go on add the fourth grant received either in learning grant capitation or others. Then the amount received, then the tranche will also follow suit. Well, so you are not done. We're going to also consider inclusivity, whether the school have policies that support inclusivity in the school or otherwise. So let's look at this. We're also going to provide information on inclusivity, and it is for you to answer this question as administrator. Does the school have and enforce policies prohibiting corporal punishment? If you some example, which is caning, then if it is yes, indicate. If it is no, indicate. If it is no, you take over here. So if it is yes, take. If it's no, you take. If it is no, you take. That the school promote positive disciplinary procedures. If it is yes, you take. No, you take here. No, then you take over here. This is a continuation of the other subjects being taught in the school, where you are going to provide the average score and the number of students who had below average, then the number of people who had above average score. Now, under general issues, you continue to supply this information by responding yes, no, or no. So these are the questions. Are children who are pregnant allowed to attend school? If it is yes or no, you indicate over here yes, no, or no. Are girls who have had a baby allowed to come back to school after delivery? If it is yes, no, or no, you provide. Do girls and boys know how to report to in case of bullying or sexual harassment? Then you put here. What is the health status of your school? Do children and teachers wash their hands with soap? If it is yes, you indicate. If it is no, you indicate. Is the school compound clean? If it is yes, no, or no, you have these options. Does the school observe COVID-19 protocols? If it is yes or no, you input it over here. Right. So when you are done, you continue with the number of strands covered for that term for all the subjects. So in English, you indicate the number of strands covered in KG1. So each of the classes or grades, a teacher is supposed to cover number of strands within the term in English, in mathematics and science. So indicate the number as well for all the subjects. Then after that, you're going to provide answers to availability of furniture. That includes adequacy, not adequate, and not available. These are the three options. So people's writing places, are they adequate, not adequate, or not available? If it is adequate, you put your AD. If it's not adequate, you in place NAD. If it is not available, you provide NA. Against people writing places, people's teaching places, facilitators tables, facilitator chairs, classroom cupboard, etc. Then you continue to tackle the number of meetings organized or held in the school community. So under meetings, you have to record the number of CISO visits during the term. So again, the number of CISO visits during the term, you put it over here. If it is 4, 3, or 1, you put it over here. Number of insert for facilitators during the term. So every school is supposed to have in-service training for the facilitators within the term. So you put it over here. All right. Then meetings. These are the meetings, staff meetings, farm, PA support, SMC, PLC. So the frequency tells us or asks a question, the number of times that the staff meeting was held in the school. If it is 5 times or 4 times or 3 times, we put here. Number of school performance appraisal meetings or general assembly meetings. SMC general assembly meetings, you input it over here under frequency. Then number of meals that attended during the staff meeting. So if you have 4 meetings and in all 5 teachers attended the staff meeting, then it means that definitely, and in all the 5 teachers were males, then you have 20 males. If in all the staff meetings, that's the 4 staff meetings and 3 females all attended in all the meetings, then 3 times 4 will be 12. Okay, so cumulatively, you provide all the records over here. PE support, number of parent association meetings that was held to provide support for the school. You also input here the number of times held within the term, number of meals present, number of meals we put here. SMC. Now, there's some kind of difference between SMC. SMC, they are the 10 or 11 members school who govern and manages the affairs of the school. And that is different from General Assembly meetings, where it includes the parents of the children in the school children, the teachers, the general community members. And that is where we have the spam over here. But SMC includes only the 10 members who govern the affairs of the schools, such as the district director, the head teacher, ref from teachers, ref from district assembly, or the assembly member if the school is the unit school, the local manager, etc. Then here we have PLC frequency. How many times was PLC organized in the school? Ideally, we're supposed to have 8 PLCs within the term. So if you had more than that or below the number, it doesn't matter. You put the records over here. Then you add in all the meetings, the number of males present and the number for the number of minutes meetings, PLC meeting, the record it here. Then the same also applies to the females, the number of females who participated in the professional learning community meetings. Now that one is different from the number of insets of associated during the term, because PLCs mostly could be school based or cluster based, but it's not open to the district wide or national wide in service training. So if you want to find out the number of insets that facilitators took part, remember that the PLC is a typical type of in-service training. Okay, so you have to add the number of workshops or seminars that were provided by the district level or the regional or national levels, in addition to the number of PLCs held within the school or on the confine of the school, and supply it over here. Right, community involvement. So here we want to know whether PTA involvement was good, fair, or poor, or non-available. So if it is good, you input it here. If it is fair, you place it here. If it is poor, how is the parents involving themselves in the school activities, school affairs, and the management and support? Are they supporting the schools? Then parents notification of student progress. Every school is supposed to notify their people's parents the performance of their pupils or their children in the school. And these normally issuance of report card, and also elaborating on the performance of the pupils, their enrollment, their attendance, their behavior in the schools during general assemblies meetings or during SPAM. We should take note of this. Very, very important. So during general assembly meetings, it's not only about issuing of presenting the budget that they could speak for approval and validation, right? But the parents should, during PTA meetings and community general assembly, SMC general assemblies, members should be notified about the performance of their students or the pupils in the schools, and that should not be only academic performance, but enrollment, attendance, gender, then behavior or disciplinary issues in the school. Right, community sensitization for attendance. So as I said, the same also applies over here. The SMC's involvement is the SMC, that the 10 or 11 member committees, are they involving themselves actively in the affairs of the school? If it is good, you state. If it is fair, you state. If it is poor, none, or if it is not available, you put here. So what we have seen is that in some schools, the head teacher and the few teachers or the teachers assume the responsibility of the SMCs, and therefore do not even involve the SMCs in the activity of the schools. The SMC is also not only about the chairman and the PTA chairman and the head teacher and assistant or the teacher. No, remember it's a 10 member, and they are supposed to meet twice a term, at least twice a term, to deliberate on the report of the school and action plan and question what have you, before execution in the school, and also presentation for approval and validation during general assembly meeting. So please let us take note of this. Okay, so basically this will be the information required on the mobile school report card. So I promise you that I will show you how to design your school-based assessment template that will help you to get the average score, and the number of people who obtain the average, who obtain scores or marks above average, and the number of people who have scored or have scores or marks below the average score, right? So that you will not find yourself wanting. Now, at the KG level or grade, you may consider to have a KG SBA template that look like this. So here we have facilitators weekly observational notebook. So the SBA being used at the basic levels have some distinctions because of the nature of the standard-based curriculum, right? So reading from the standard-based curriculum, KGs are supposed to have facilitators weekly observational notebook. And this is example, a typical template that look like this, where we have the academic year, term, grade will follow. So we have the date, the subject, strands, substrand, curriculum, reference number, week number, days, assessment mode, name of peoples will also follow suit. Then we have the gender. So within the week, it is expected that the KG facilitator will cover all the four areas, and that include literacy, numeracy, creative arts, and OWOP, right? So, and whatever they do, the lessons or the substrand they teach should remain the same. So that is how come we have under substrand. So you see, let's begin from here. We have the date here. So within the week, we have the date over here. Within the week, the facilitator is supposed to tackle literacy. They say from the same lesson notes, tackle numeracy or develop literacy skills, develop numeracy skills. Then the children acquiring some knowledge on the subject matter or the concept, then develop some creative skills or abilities or values on the same substrand. So this is a typical example of I am a wonderful and unique creation. And when we move on to the curriculum reference number, I realize that you check the curriculum reference numbers, and then for the week, here is week number 1. So under week number 1, see we have day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, and week number 1, the same week number 1. Under numeracy, we have day 1, day 2, day 3, Monday up to Friday. Under OWOP, we have Monday, which we day 1 up to 5. So this is a weekly chart. Okay, so then once on daily basis you teach or you facilitate the substrand or the strand, which is all about me, I'm wonderful, creation, unique. Then under literacy on Monday, which is day 1, okay, out of 10, check number of let's look at the peoples, right? Kofi Mensah under literacy, and then under the substrand, he scored 8. That's Monday. So on the same Monday for numeracy, Kofi Mensah had 6. Then in OWOP, Kofi Mensah on day 1, which is Monday, Kofi Mensah out of 10 had 2. Then the creative arts, Kofi Mensah had Monday, that's Monday day 1. The same week had what 9. Okay, then day 2, you taught the lesson, but Kofi Mensah had the same 8. So it goes on and on and on for all the peoples, for all the subjects on daily basis within the week. Okay, so on daily basis within the week, you have to make sure that you assess the performance of the peoples at the KG level. So you accumulate all this gradual and a gradual manner cumulatively. Then when you are done, this KG SBA template B. This is we'll be going to translate this on their report card at the end of the term. So here we have, let's identify the features. We have the academic year, we have the literacy, numeracy, OWOP, creative arts, term 1, term over here, grade, number on row for boys and girls, then the total will follow suit over here. We have the average score over here, number above average, number below average for numeracy, for literacy, OWOP, creative arts, and creative arts. So this is for the class. Then these are the indicators, that's the level of proficiency, which will guide the school in making decisions on how well the pupils in KG1 and KG2 are performing. Right. So here we have the subject here, literacy, numeracy, OWOP, and creative arts over here. We have names of the pupils, the agenda, total. So here, so let's take the literacy subject alone and use it as a typical example to analyze the results. So we have the total scores here. So remember, we did cumulatively. So from day 1, beginning of the term to the end of the term, all the assessments will be calculated. Their scores will be added from day 1 up to the last day of the term, probably the last, assuming the school is running 12 weeks, then up to the 10th weeks or the 11th week, you add all their scores. That gives us what the total score for the term for each of the peoples in the KG level. Then you calculate 50% of their scores. Then you did exams for them or end of term assessment for them. Good. Though it is assumed that whatever they learned should be the true state or performance of the pupils. However, because you want to also assess them both in the summative and also the formative, assess them based on the formative and modes, formative and summative modes of assessment. You conduct assessment for end of term assessment, then you also record them over here. Then you find 50% of their assessment, then you add 50 of the assessment for the scores on the daily assessment, that's the formative. Then on the summative, you add them to give you the 100%. Then the level of proficiency, whether they are highly proficient or proficient or approaching proficiency. How do you determine that if the child had scores 80% and above, then it is highly proficient? The child deserves to be given what? A gold. Good. Now, if it is proficient, it means that the score, that's 50 plus 50 over here, that total score should range between 66 up to 79%. Then you can clearly say that the child is approaching proficiency. So it applies to all the other subjects for numeracy, OWOP, and creative art. So you see, when that is done here, you'll be able to have the total score for numeracy, all the scores for numeracy over here, which is 429 over here. Then under numeracy 2, you have the total score over here, OWOP also here, then creative art over here. Here to have the total class score for all the peoples, individual peoples. How was 319 obtained? It was obtained by adding that of the literacy here, that's literacy under A plus B column here, for then numeracy A plus B, then OWOP also here, then creative arts also here to get 319. So that gives us the total class score for each of the individuals and the class position as well. All these matters. Then the average score, the number above average and number below average. So the average is obtained by dividing the number of pupils in the class, dividing the total score, in this case what we have here, by the number of people. So if you want to find out about the literacy, the average score for literacy, this is the total score for literacy. So we divide 429 by the number of pupils in the class, which is, or the enrollment for the class, which is 5 over here. So we divide 429 by 5, then you get the average score, which is 85.7. So that means the average score for literacy for this class first term was 85.7. Then you check how many of the pupils here had their performance and their literacy here, okay, scored, had their scores above the average score of 85.7. So you can clearly see that 85.7. So Samuel Adulu had 100. It is above the average score 85.7. Then Kwesi Frimpong also had 86.5, which is also above the average score, right? So under literacy here, you have 2 pupils, and then the remaining 3 also had below the average score, and that is Kofi Mensah, Musa, and Kwesi Frimpong. These are the 3 individuals or people who had scores below the average marks. On the other hand, Abigail and Samuel had scores above the average score. That's how come the above average, the number of it is what is 2. So you can continue to do likewise for all the other subjects for numeracy, OWOP, and creative arts by dividing the number of their total score, okay, by the number of pupils, right? So this is for KG. So once you have this, then you can input this on the templates, which requires their performance. Then you can input that on the mobile school report card. If you don't do this and you wait to the end of the term, you find yourself wanting. So at the primary level too, the SBA is quite different. This is how the SBA looks like. So here too, they have the academic here, over here, the term, the grade, number of row, boys and girls, total, number above average score, and the number below average also here. The term begins and term ends are also here. Then the project work. So we are supposed to have group work, class test, and another group work, or group class test, group work, and class test, depending on how the teacher thinks the mood should be. So you can have class test, and group work, or group work, class test, or group work, class test for Cat 1, Cat 2, Cat 3. However, the project work is very significant here. And you must have project work for all the subjects. So this is subject based, right? And the subjects should be written under the subject. So it could be science, math, or English, or OWOP, or whatever over here. So when you conduct at the end of the month, you conduct Cat 1, you you input their scores on the template over here. So you do like 5. Then the project work should be given to the people's second week of the beginning of the term. Then you look at their preparation, you score them, their process at the end of, let's say, the 9th or 10th week, you start collecting their project work, but you need to observe them doing it. They must have the project work rubrics. As a facilitator, you must have a project work rubrics where you'll be able to assess their preparation, process, product, and response. So you input those marks over here against the people's. Then when you are done, you add all to give you 60. After that, you find 30% of the 60 over here. Then you conduct end of term assessment, which is 100. You find 70% of it. Then you add the A and B to it, get the 100% mark. Your position for the level of proficiency will also follow suit. So how do you calculate for the average score? You'll be able to calculate the average score by adding all their scores, both summative and the formative. That's the end of term assessment and that of the cuts, right? So you here, when you add all the marks over here, it gives us 130.8, right? So you divide this score by the number of people, which is what, 6. And when you do that, the average score over here for BS3 here is 71.8 for that particular subject. Okay, assuming it is science or maths. Then number of people who scored who have their scores above the average score 71.8. So let's check out over here. Check it out. Above. So 84.1 is above, 81 is above, right? Then 73 is above. So definitely 3 of the candidates had their scores above the average score 71.8. What about the number of students who scored below the average? It is also 3. Let's find out. That is 66.3, 58.6, and then 67.2. So we have 3 also over here. So you have this information, you can input that on the template, and then after that you input it on the mobile school report card. So ideally, if you have this information down here, then it gives you it makes it easier for you to do correct entries. Then the next one is the GHS. So the GHS template. Okay, so this is example of a science related substrand, and the project work topic is how to separate water from sand. So clearly see how the template was prepared and utilized. All right. So at the end of the term, you are going to give information to the parent, the general community about the number of people who scored above average, the average score and below average, those who are proficient, highly proficient, approaching proficient, to the community during the general assembly meetings. That is very, very significant over here. Then total, the averages, which I've already explained it. So summation of the 30%, 70% divided by class enrollment. Okay, here divided by the enrollment, which is 6. That's how come class 71.9 over here. Okay, the GHS at the GHS level also similar. You have to have a template that look like this. The only difference at the GHS is that the determinants of their level of proficiency is quite different from that of the primary, so the KG. So let's take note. 80% before 80% and plus, you get the child is rated highly proficient. So this proficiency are on the or are found, or the source of this information is on the National Assessment Framework. National Assessment Framework. When you see when the standard-based curriculum was introduced, an assessment framework was also introduced. So that is the National Assessment Framework for assessment at the basic level, KGHS and the primary are found in it. You can have a look at it, look for the document and read about it. Assessment modes and how assessment should be conducted. So at the GHS level too, you have the same information over there. So please, let's just take note. Same approach over here. The same approach. Remember the project work, the various columns. All right. So that brings us to how we can use and to how we can use the template to have initial recordings to prepare access at the end of the term and submission on the mobile school report app. Now on the main menu, when you launch your mobile application, and that's the mobile school report card application, you have this as your main menu, which I believe you are aware. But how do you navigate your way throughout to submit your report? So just as you were able to, or you were asked to set the week before you are able to submit the records, the same process has to be done to set the term. So you first of all have to set the term before you can have your records submitted. So you click on school report card, you click on term report because you are going to report at the end of the term. These features, I believe you are aware. So you click on term details to set the term. Click on term details here to set the term. The academic year, select the academic year, let's say 2023, 2024, or 2022, 2023, 2024. In which of the term are you recording? To term 1. Then term week number. Please let's take note over here. So you consider and find out how many weeks did you use to record to arrive at all the records, or how many weeks that were spent within the academic year, term. Then you record. If it is 12 weeks, then you select 12. If it is 15 weeks, you select 15. So academic term, you are spending 12 weeks. So I select 12 weeks. Then academic semester. You are not running academic semester, you make it 0. And here too will become 0. Then you click on set term details. Term details set successfully. Good. Now, once that is done, you are good to go. So you click on the number of textbooks. So it means then once you click on it, number of textbooks forms opened. Then you see we have the grade. So you provide records for all the grades over here. Please let us take note. So we begin with KG1 because the school is a basic school. So we begin with KG1. Then under KG1, if you have textbooks for numeracy, you indicate the number 0. We don't have any textbooks for all the subjects, the KG. So you indicate appropriately. When you are done, please remember this. When you are done, you don't click submit. You click on add entry. So you click on add entry. About to add number of textbooks for the selected grade to the entries. So click on OK. Right. So we are finished with KG1. So we continue with KG2. We don't have any textbooks for numeracy. So if you have, then you indicate the number. So in this school, we have KG1, KG2. So it is a basic school, so it means we have to finish with all the levels. You click on add entry. So you are done with the KG1 and KG2. The next grade is basic 1. So you continue for all the subjects, for all the grades, until you are done with all the grades or the classes in the school. So when you are done for all the levels in your school or grades in your school, then you can click on submit. You're about to submit all entries added to all grades. If you don't go by this, and you, as soon as you finish, let's say grade 1, then you click on submit, you will not be able to add on to the other grades. So please take note of this. So once you are done, you can go back and check whether submission has been successful or otherwise. So you click on the 3 dot at the top right corner over here. You go to and click on back again. Then you go to summary analytics to find out whether your submission has been successful. So we have the academic year, which is 2023-2024, academic term, which is term 1, term week number. Remember, we chose 12. So if you choose a different term week number, then you may not have the correct information required. So under category, what did we do? We submitted data on textbooks. So you click on textbooks. After that, you click on view submissions. So once you are able to provide all the add entries for all the various grades, then you click on submit. So you don't provide records for KG1 and you submit. Then after that, you go back and provide records for KG2 and submit for each of them. No. What you have to do is that you provide records for KG1, add entry, KG2, add entry. So you finish up to the last grade. Then after that, click on submit. And once you do that, you have your textbook created successfully. Remember, if you don't have internet access, there's no way you'll be able to submit this data. Let's take notes. You click on OK. So you must make sure that through the summary analytics, you want to view your submission on the number of textbooks you submitted on the form. You must make sure that the academic year indicated on the form is the same as what is over here, the academic term and the week number and the semester. So far as or so long as all these information tallies with the forms that you submitted, then and you selected the variable, the appropriate variable, and you click on view submissions. You have all your records that you submitted over here. Okay. Now we want to now provide records on people performance. So you click on people performance. Then here too, similarly, just as we did for the school records book, you follow the same trend. You take KG1, record the average score, let's say 80, the number, student above average, let's say 6, student below average, let's say 7. Then average score, 70 for literacy, let's say 78, numeracy 5, student below average. Now, in all this, you must make sure that the student above average and student below average, when added together, will give you the number on row of the class. So let's take note. So student above average, let's say 7, let's say 6. Oh, so the average score was 90. Oh, was 9, above and below. Let's say 5. If there's any comment you want to give, then you provide it over here. Assuming the student are not the performance above average, the average score are not encouraging, and there's a reason why you have a number of students performing below average or above average, then you can include it at the comment section over here. So when you are done, you click on add entry, click on OK. Then you move on to graduate to KG2. So KG2, then you provide all the scores. After that, you add entry, you go to basic 1. So once you navigate to basic 1 grade, realize that the number of subjects increases. So here, let's say we have average score to be 50. We have a number above average 1. Then we have below average 6. Average score for mathematics 56. Student above average 4. Then we have here 2. Average score for O, that is 70. Student below average, or less above average here 4. Student below average 2. Then average score 80. Then student above average, let's say 5. Student below average 1. So you continue until you finish with all the grades. So once you are done, we have added entry for all the grades, and you have provided all the required values. Then you click on OK. You click on submit first, then you click on OK. It will load just a student performance created successfully. Okay. So you can go back and view at the summary analytics. But the next item is meetings. So number of CISOs meeting during the term, visits 5, number of insert trainings, let's say 13, then staff meetings 1, had 5, the number of meals that participated, let's say it's 4, which I have already explained to you what this actually means. So you fill and provide all the available information, frequency spa meetings 1. So when you are done and you have any comment, you put it at the comment section. Okay. Remember, I always say that remember this term and the academic year. So when all the entries are where you click on submit. School meeting created successfully. Good. So you are done school meeting, then you proceed to grant. So you take the template as I shown to you. If you have one, you take it. Then here you select the grant. So what grant did you receive for that? Did you receive learning grants, capitation, and others? So what you have to do is I must make sure that you add all the you must have all the learning grant values available. Then capitation grant values also available. Then If there are any other source of funds that you receive for the school, add all of them, making others, including IGS and any donations, all will come under others. So if you take learning grant, for instance, you see the amount that was received based on the tranche over here. So let's assume that in this school we received 50 Ghana cedis for first tranche. Within the same term, first tranche, 50 Ghana cedis. Okay, and that was the first tranche. So I select tranche 1. Good. Then after that, I click on add entry. If that's the only money that you received in the school, no RGF, nothing, no capitation grant, then here becomes what, 50 Ghana cedis, then you click on submit. But if you receive other source of fund like capitation grant or even other tranches for on learning grant, record according to tranches. So you click on select tranche 1 to add entry. And the same learning grant, you receive another 50 Ghana cedis for tranche 2. Okay, so you click on add entry. So these are the two tranches received. Then on capitation grant, you received 100 Ghana cedis and the tranche was 1. Then you add entry. Then the same capitation grant receive another 100 Ghana cedis for the second tranche. Then you click on add entry. Then when you are done, others, if you receive community support money or donation, here you must know this, that assuming any donation in the form of material capital like cardboard, chairs, TLMs or whatever, you have to quantify them, okay, and determine the amount. So if after quantifying, in addition to your market tools, your assessment fees, your offertories and the rest, you add all of them, that gives you what the amount for others. So based on it, let's assume the school had 2,500. Then indicate it as what? Let's say tranche 1, right? Then because you are done with all the grants, you click on what? Submit and wait for just a second. Support grant created successfully. Click on OK. When you are done, the next thing is sanitation. So indicate the availability of these sanitation materials. So in the school, we have this available, not functioning, not functioning water. Source of water is what? Pipe-borne, dustbins, not functioning, Veronica buckets available. When you are done, if there's any comments, you provide it here. If you need support, whatever, provide it here. Then you click on next. So it may happen that because you don't have these facilities, you are having some challenges. So you can put it at the comment section, right? Then when we are done with sanitation, you continue with security. The school gated, if it is gated, the availability of it, okay, non-available. The school is not fenced. The school does not have lights, or security is not functioning in the school. If there is anything you want to add, you click on you put it at the comment side. Besides, click on submit, and it's created successfully. Then when you are done, you continue with recreation. So you have football. Yes, the school doesn't have a functioning volleyball, doesn't have a functioning netball, not functioning playing field. Sports where you have swing. This is typically for the KG people. So available or not functional. In all this, you provide the appropriate response. That the school have first aid box, not functioning, so you put it there. Then if it is functioning, put it there. Then you submit. If you have any comment at all, you put it there. Click on submit. Sports facility creators. Okay. So when you are done, you continue with school structure, the walls, the status of the wall. Okay, fair. Select the doors, are they poor? The windows, poor. Floors, good. Blackboard, good. So the reason why you must submit authentic and accurate information, do not have to lie, is that stakeholders need to know exactly the status of your school so that they can provide support to your school. So put a comment here. If the school has challenges, the structure has challenges, which need urgent attention, you can put it at the comment side. Then after that, you click on submit. You wait for just a second, have this response. Structure created successfully. Strands covered. So in all this, you have all the teachers in your school. So you have to record the number of strands each of them was able to cover within the term. So let's say choose Adam Samuel. So just as the grants, we utilize the grants formula. We utilize the same process to determine the number of strands covered for all the teachers. So it is not going to be individual and then you submit. You don't provide records for individual and you submit. Rather, you must make sure that you provide the records for all the subjects for each of the teachers before you submit. So we are done with this teacher. So we click on add entry. About to add round data to entries. So you continue with another teacher and scroll upwards. Good. So answer strands covered, let's say 5 for English, mathematics 2, 6. Go up, say science, this French is not taught in the school, so that becomes 0. PE 5, RME 6, computing 7, you put it in Ghanaian language 4. When you are done with all the facilitators in your school, then you click on submit. About submit, okay. Chance covered, created successful. So you continue with all the entries for furniture, books and records, community involvement. So PTA, the involvement is good. Parents, are they notified? Fair. Community sensitization for school attendance. SMC's activities, is it okay? Are they involved in school activities? If you have any challenge, remember you need to be authentic and accurate. Click on submit. Community involvement created successfully. So you continue. Books and records, similarly. Admission register, do you have it? Yes. Class register, if you have, yes. Attendance register, if you have, yes. Logbook, yes. Visitors register, no. SBA, yes. So you continue. Movement book that the school have, movement book, yes. This movement book is for the teachers, right? Okay, yes. And this is also student movement book. So in the school, myself, movement book for teachers, TMB, then student movement book also here. Yes, right. When you are done, there are no comments to click on submit. So school record books created successfully. Okay. Then, so you are done. Furniture, people's writing places, are they available? Okay, not adequate. See, people sitting places not adequate. Facilitators table not adequate. Facilitator chairs not adequate. Classrooms, cupboard, okay, not adequate. In all this, were there problems with the following? So you put the comment over here. Right. After that, you click on submit. So furniture created successfully. So general issues. Community involvement. Do community volunteer to be involved in the school? Yeah. If it is yes, no, or no, you submit. If there's any comments, you have to do, because the information you provide here, all stakeholders will have it. Then you also have the opportunity to share it with members of your SMC and the school community, so you can have amicable solutions to them. The SMC and PT executive discuss and prepare the script. So as indicated on the template, you continue to provide. It's not whatever it is to provide. So you continue and feel appropriate for all effective teaching and learning in the school, provide all the information. Right, when you are done, then you click on submit. When you are done, you click on submit. But make sure that you fill all the entries. Okay, so we are done with timely submission of data. And as we learned, it is done at the end of the term, but you must have the appropriate templates as a backup. Should there be any inconveniences or eventualities? On this note, we want to thank you very much for your attention and patience. We expect that you'll be able to report your school activities and then utilize data submitted on the mobile report card for decision making for the improvement of learning outcomes in the school.